Good night again from Tel Aviv. So I didn't have no more changes currently in the construction of the Caribbean room. So maybe I'll have some more a little more in the later. I try to gently re-roll the paintings so they will be preserved as much as possible. I hope you enjoy the melody. So I wanted to say, to add, this will not be kind of an ongoing session where I repeatedly, describe all sorts of scenes that humans have done to the Titans, because the list is enormous, and this is one of the major subjects of this channel, but more and more over other social accounts that predate my arrest 10 months ago. But there are several things that are very important for me to say, because just so you will not there will be no misunderstanding regarding the golden earring. So I yesterday I described it in a video. Hopefully you've seen the video and you understand what it actually is. If not, just watch the video. And of course, this kind of artistic performance, that I conduct many times, and not only paint and create sculptures, but I do performance art, the this bolero, this kind of the repeating leitmotif of this song that you hear. So if it's not obvious, maybe it should be stated, but just so we are clear, this torture of the golden earring is a standard thing in Israel, and probably also in many other places, and most certainly in the United States. Most certainly, they know about it for a long, long time. It's not a new thing. Again, surely it was already existed during the 1980s, but maybe much longer before that, because part of its functionality relates very heavily to the concept of hypnotic triggers that are implanted on the person. That in my naivety in the past I thought it's something that belonged to the 1950s, but it's a major weapon of the Israeli intelligence up until today. Something that they do all the time. And you can understand very well, because their goons, the zombies, the ones that you just heard, a major part of what they do is to try to use triggers in order to take control over you. Now, I'm not going to speak about the entire evilness of the hypnosis theory and implication. Just regarding the golden earring, it's very important. For me, just to clarify. First of all, personally, I'm also a person. Yes, I fight for a cause of a whole species and planet, but I'm also a person, and I am tortured for many, many years. Unbelievable cruelty, and the fact that I am immune, and probably it's something. If I don't know, but from your comments, I understand that it's kind of unique, that this immunity. I really don't know. I just know that regular people are very afraid. Both Titans and humans that are subjected to it are very afraid that of not hearing the song. Which happens if they stop they remove the SIM card or stop being near the phone. So they are terrifying by it. So if I understand correctly, I'm kind of it's a unique something, but maybe not. I don't know. You tell me. But it's not that I do not suffer from it. This caused me immense suffering for many, many years until this day. This is a major source of suffering for a long, long time. Now, my estimation is they started to do it to me maybe 15 or 17 years ago. But because up until that point, I slept very well. Since I remembered myself, I slept the whole night. Without any problem. Throughout my childhood, and I don't remember until when, but maybe the age of 22 or 23, 24. But maybe 15, 16. Now I'm almost 40. January 7, I will be 40. But at a certain point in my life, my sleeping was completely ruined, and without explanation. And of course, people send you to psychiatrists and endless list of doctors that prescribe you tons of medication that is ruining your health, and I know, and you gain weight, and you it affects you kind of you're ballooned by all sorts of psychiatric medications that it's like and so many medications that I've taken throughout the years with no avail, and ultimately I was, and it was a major effect of sorrow in my marriage, because my wife couldn't stand the fact that I'm always awake, and I slept for an hour or 2 hours, and I was awake, and then so it's all just one hour and you're awake, and and it was like it for several years, including the duration of my marriage. This was it was horrible for her, and it was horrible for me. And I should say that after a long fight with these kind of sleep issues, I somewhat managed to, after a long time, like maybe 10 years, I managed to stop taking medication for sleep, at all. No sleeping pills, and no SSRIs, no TCAs, nothing. But still, up to this day, I have tremendous issue with sleep, and if you just follow me, you see that, for many times I just keep sleeping at all during the night because I'm afraid of being asleep, like in Freddy Krueger movie. Because this golden earring is something that is, at least in my case, should be said, yes, I have probably a unique or rare immunity to it cannot kill me, and I can and I can stop it, but I cannot stop use phone. Just in now, this was the main issue of the hearing, of the trial today. That I'm such a bad boy that I didn't answer, or I wasn't always available for the social worker that supposedly need to write it's another review on me. So maybe I'll get a little bit better terms of the arrest. That is completely ridiculous. But anyway, and she doesn't want to use WhatsApp because I can still use WhatsApp without the SIM card. So I need to be, and I don't want to be, I spoke about it this morning, and you understand. I do whatever I can to but you can't, certainly when I raised my daughters, and when I was working as a salary person, an engineer, you must have a phone. You cannot do without it. So you are always subjected to it, and this caused me tremendous amount of sorrow and pain, and it still left its mark on my health. So yes, I with the grace of God, they cannot kill me with this, and this of course is a huge grace of God, and probably something that is rare, if not unique. Again, I would gladly get any information on the matter, but I was, for many years, I'm terrorized by it, in unimaginable ways. So much cruelty. You cannot sleep, and you hate sleeping, because and I don't even remember what it is to have a good night's sleep, even though I do remember that during my childhood and young adulthood, I would say up until 24, 25, something like that, I slept I was a great sleeper. I slept the whole night. So it was much and fun, but I don't even remember what it is to just go to sleep. Kind of that you are not completely wrecked, just a little bit tired, and you decide to go to sleep, and they feel great, and everything is fine, and you just sleep the whole night and wake up refreshed. I remembered it only intellectually, but not emotionally. The emotional experience was deleted after so many years of that it's impossible. If I sleep 4 hours in a row, it's still a great achievement, and it's still a terrified sleep. So this golden earring is something that is absolutely, it wrecks you, and it wrecks your marriage if you have married, and it's and you are always agitated, and you need, and I always need the assistance of ADHD drugs, initially Ritalin, but now and then Focalin, and now I use Adderall, not Adderall, Attent, which is I think it's it's the same as Adderall, and I depend on it in order just to keep awake during the day. Otherwise I cannot keep awake during the day. And I take quite a bit of this medication regularly, and it's like that for more than 10 years, and just to say, I never used such medication, including during my academic studies that were extremely demanding, I studied in Hebrew University in extremely demanding. A project, both like Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, which was very demanding because it's very hard. I mean, it's considered like a very difficult degree in a demanding university, and also Amirim Ruach, which is the most celebrated, I would say, honorary program in the humanities in Israel, and it's extremely demanding by itself. I just said not to honor myself, but just to say that during all this time, I never took it. I wasn't even thinking of taking this medicine. And people that have such problems, this is like the major time in their life when they take these drugs. But I never took it because they still didn't use they still didn't use the golden earring, so I still slept very well, so I didn't have a problem. But not longer after that, and up until today, I cannot. Without these drugs, I cannot keep all day without falling apart and sleeping, because I never sleep during the night. I never get a good night's sleep. Never. This is my life, and of course it's just one part of my subjugation and abuse. But just to understand, this golden earring it's got tremendous implications besides the fact that you are now a slave of the Shabbat, because they can at any point stop it, and then you are dead. You are probably as good as dead. So basically you always walk with kind of with electronic device that is attached to you, in the Dune 1984 David Lynch Dune movie, that to see their Conan, they implement a device in each of their slaves, that they can and in one scene you see the Baron execute without even thinking about it, a slave just by touching this device, and then he's dead. And all the titans in Israel, all of them, without any regards to anything that they've done or didn't do, all of them, and also other people that are slaves of the Shabak and the Mossad, all of them are essentially just that, the slaves of their Conans, because they can, and even more so because they can execute them from remotely, without any kind of without any trace, and they know it. Think what kind of psychological torture it is, and with the grace of God, I don't have this psychological torment is. Well, I'm not subjected to it because for quite some time I know that I have resistant to it, and this was actually documented. How exactly I came to understand it. It was a process that actually was relatively well documented, what exactly happens and how I came to all sorts of conclusions. This was documented very well in Twitter, mostly before the YouTube channel. So I don't have this, but all of the other ones, this is their life. This is their life in Israel, without any way to combat it. And on top of it, it should be said that many times this mechanism is used not to execute them or to just, make them sleep deprived, but just to torture them throughout the day by their own colleagues or friends or families. And I've seen it with my own eyes, how they do it to titans. Of course, females, because they are much more common in Israel. So sometimes, you think that you are working, in whatever office you work or doing your job, and you know that, you're presumably friends, and you must stay friends with them because you cannot escape this life. You are a slave. You cannot escape the life. And each of your friends, presumably friends or colleagues or bosses, at any given moment, they can just, they don't need to completely stop the music and execute you. They can just adjust the application, and they all have their way to do it. So you will be, tortured to effect it. You are you must keep. You can't do anything just by like autist children that have sensory overload. They do something like that, like that on until it's over, until their friends or colleagues decide that they suffered a lot, and then they stop it, and they have no way to resist it, and they cannot even speak about it, because if they only speak about it, they are institutionalized in mental asylum. This is a huge part of the subjugation, that you cannot even speak about it. You are not allowed to speak about any part of it. And these things I've seen in my own eyes. I've seen how it happens in my own, with my own eyes. It's done, and regularly so, just to torment the titans, mainly not by nameless executors or tormentors of that presumably, I mean, stay in in the darkest dungeons of the Shabak, but no, mainly it's done by their colleagues and friends. This is the state of Israel, and the United States know about it very well, and most certainly they also use it. It's not a new like device. It's not a new thing. Even the name, like the Golden Earring name, it's not something that is very classified. Like there are things much more, I mean, also like torture methods that are much more classified. Just to say that this is like a common thing in this world, very well known and used extensively, and it's used on all the Titans in blanket, like without, just by the fact that they are Titans. Like I mean, without relation to anything that they have done or not done. All of them have it, like, and live with this torture. All of them. And the United States is so super cool with that. Like, they are fine. Like, I mean, at the same time, they preach like the other nations about democracy, rainbow, LGBTQ rights. They are totally cool with this. They are fine. And not only the United States, of course, many other nations know about it, because this is something that is, again, it's a well-known tool for, I mean, of torment, like, I mean, the Golden Earring. And it's like, maybe it's got also, like, variety of, like, applications that there might be innovations of, like, how to apply it. Because you can apply it in many sorts of ways that I already described, like, for all sorts of purposes. I mean, besides the addiction that is, like, the most, I mean, like, the ultimate torment, because you always know that they can execute you whenever they want. So, of course, it implies that you must do whatever they want, and it's exactly what they do. It's exactly what they do. Of course, I mean, all the Titan females are, I mean, they just, I mean, comply with the demands of the human captors. They know that they can execute them any moment without, like, any problem or any kind of, consequence for them. And it should be said on the same note that this is also a great instrument to convince them of all sorts of, like, false beliefs, like they are made of clay, and that they are gender fluid, and they are not, like, they cannot, like, have children, and it was always like that. I mean, since the inception of Israel, that, I mean, the Titan slaves were convinced by the Israelis of all sorts of, like, ridiculous ideas about their nature. Of course, this is a huge part of, I mean, psychological in slavery, and many times they believed these ridiculous thing, not because they were stupid or because they were naive, but because the people that taught them this stuff also controlled the music that can terminate them completely, like kill them without problem, and also torment them at any given moment. And when these guys that have this power over you tell you something, like presumably scientific thing or like objective things regarding reality, you believe it. Like, you actually, not in a cynical way, you actually believe it. You believe it. Like, if they tell you that a person that you know very well for years, and you know him to be a very, like a Titan or a cherub, a male that you know, like, presumably you're a female and you have, like, a male friend, like, not in a sexual way, but, I mean, maybe you want it to be in a sexual way, but I mean, you start, like, but as soon as, like, things starting to heat up between you, like, I mean, because he shows interest, and you show, and you understand that it's from the biological perspective, there is no problem with that, because you're both Titans, and you know this guy, you are a female, I mean, maybe 20-something years old or 30 years old, and you know this guy for several years now, or, I mean, for quite some time, like, as a friend, like, not in romantic way, but, I mean, maybe it was always, like, a possibility that was looming, how things they are, and that he's a very nice person, and, it's nice to be with him, and he was never involved even remotely in any criminal thing, and, he's just a good guy. But as soon as things start to heat up, your operators, and they all have operators, they tell you that this guy, actually, you think you know him, you think that you know him very well, but I'll tell you the truth about him. He's actually not only a pedophile and a psychopath, he's a rapist and even a murderer. That's the truth about him. So think very well if you really want to be attached to this person, and certainly think if you really want to to have sex with this guy, and they don't have sex at all because there are no males. They are sexually deprived all their lives. But they told them, the operators, human operators, think very well if you actually want to have sex with this guy. Like, think like, I mean, what he can do to you is like, you know, he's like a cruel and heartless, like sexual pervert and criminal. Like, I mean, I wouldn't advise that. And this goes against everything that she's seen in her own eyes for many years. So what will she believe? Her own eyes and experience and brain, or the obvious blood libel of the operator creep that is in himself a pedophile and pervert? What she will believe? The answer is very simple. She will believe the version of the operator with all her heart. She will believe it like, I mean, in face value, like without any cynicism. She will believe it. She will actually accept it as a truth, and she will not think for a second to advance in any way, in a romantic way, with this friend of hers. Why? Because the operator, she knows in the back of her head that he operates the golden earring, and he can terminate her at any given moment, or just torment her without any moment, without no consequences. And this alone will 100% of the time will cause her, and it's not just one, of course, like you know, a girlfriend or a woman that I knew. I mean, this is true to almost any Titan woman that I ever knew. It's not true to all of them, because yes, indeed, I had sex in my life. Like, I mean, even before I was married, like I had girlfriends, but also I had like a little bit of, you know, one night stand. So it's not that I never had sex, and some of it was with Homo sapiens females, but some of it was with Titan females. So they did not believe it in 100% of the times, but in close to 100% of the times, they will believe it. And maybe they believe it and still decide to have sex with this male because they are sexually deprived, and like it's a good opportunity for them for like sexual satisfaction that is incredibly rare. So they will decide to do it with him anyway. But of course they will not, I mean, want to have any kind of fucking meaningful relationship with him, even if he wants it. But mostly they will just, I mean, stay out of stay out. I mean, just, I mean, cut the relationship with him, and they will believe that he is this kind of like, I mean, that is someone that is completely, I mean, that is kind of like, I mean, entirely like it's a cartoon that is not related at all to what they've seen using their eyes, sometimes for several years. But they will believe it with all their heart. Not because the operator that gives them this version is such, you know, a reliable source of information. No, they know him to be a chronic liar and a scumbag. No, they know that he always lies. They will believe the version because it gets out of the mouth of the person that controls the button that can terminate them without any consequences, or just torment them without problem. So they will believe him with all their heart. Most of the time, like close to 100% of the time, they will believe him. And they will believe many other things. They will believe that they were created from the clay, and that they had no parents, and that they are sexually, I mean, amorphic creatures, and that they actually can't have children. They will believe all of it because it comes from the mouth of the people that controls the plug that can execute them, or just cause torment, unbelievable torment. I've seen it in my own eyes. So they will believe it. And all of this is known for decades, and the United States are fine with that, and other nations, like strong nations. And I mean, it's important to actually, like, you know, specifically mention the European nations, because they are so strong, and they are so, they are known to be champion like LGBTQ, you know, values, and like the, you know, equal, you know, equality of every kind, and like, you know, and to celebrate the diversity of human experience. And at the same time, they wholly support all of the things that I've just told you now. They know it very well, and they wholly support it for a long, long time. So, I mean, no, the music is not going to stop. What I do promise you is, after I will see with my own eyes an atomic mushroom here in Israel, don't worry about me. I have like a tremendous resistance to radioactive, radiation. So don't worry. But I'm now in Tel Aviv, and I'm staying here. I'm under arrest. I have nowhere to go, and I'll stay here. The music will continue, but I do promise that if I see a mushroom, like an atomic mushroom, with my own eyes here in Tel Aviv, I promise to stop the music and not start it again. This is a promise.